podcast by Penang Institute. The term creative economy has been the buzzword for some time now, but do we really know what it is? And are people cognizant to its presence in Penang? To answer these questions and more, we have with us Loo Ping, brand consultant of Foci Collective. Foci is a Penang-based design collective that specializes in brand strategy and creative works. Cafe enthusiasts in Penang would have experienced Foci's works in Fuku Eatery and Desserts, Forest Cloud, Moonshine Bakehouse, Over and Above, and P66. Their portfolio also includes branding projects for apparel brands, hotels, a dental clinic, and a landscape architecture firm. Since its conception in 2016, Foci has also expanded their presence to KL and Singapore. Thank you and welcome to the studio, Ping. I'd like to start our chat with a big picture view. I'm curious about your perspective on how Malaysia compares to other countries in its focus on the creative industry. So, where does Malaysia sit in the global creative economy landscape in terms of what we emphasize on and the discussions taking place in our country?
Hi, Mei Ting. First of all, thank you very much for having me on the show. I'm really humbled to be invited. Yeah, so if we look at where Malaysia sit on the creative economy landscape globally, I believe our creative industry is contributing around 1.5% to the total GDP of our country. When that is compared to our neighboring countries such as Thailand, we are playing catch up with Thailand, especially where they are showing 5 to 7%. Yeah, so I believe there is a lot to catch up to our neighboring country, such as Thailand and Singapore, where we can see a very vibrant scene booming across arts, architecture, design and culture, and even in the e-sports industry. Yeah. With that, I think other countries are putting more focus on investing in a more diversified way. Yeah, as compared to Malaysia, which seems to be putting more focus on visual arts, performing arts, culinary arts, literature, and also tourism, perhaps. Yeah, so that's my take on where we sit on the economy landscape, creative economy landscape globally.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, like just traveling to Bangkok, we can actually see that their streets, their landscape, the whole city is full of so much creative designs. In fact, Bangkok is actually has actually been awarded the UNESCO Creative Cities Network for design.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Some of the interesting initiatives taking place in Thailand is also where they segregate all this, some of the more interesting cities into different themes. For example, they have Bangkok for Creative City, then Chiang Mai and Khon Kaen. Yeah, for culinary and wellness, I think something like that. So so they sort of put a theme on some of the bigger cities in Thailand just to boost the creative economy.
Yeah, so that is truly a vast difference, I would say. I mean, sure, in Malaysia we have pockets of we see creative designs littered in some cities, KL, Penang, but really we are so far behind places like Bangkok and Singapore and even Jakarta, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. What more places like South Korea and Japan, even Taipei, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think all these, especially ASEAN countries, are having a vibrant scene in terms of their creative industry, where the focus is more, more diverse, where you can see efforts being put on in different fields for example, independent music, and then also like movies, theaters, and a lot of public libraries, which is something I think the Malaysia government can put more effort and initiatives into it. Yeah.
And I think it would be fair to say that human beings, I mean, people are naturally visual beings, right? That is why, we have our attraction to aesthetically pleasing surroundings and things. But Penang's focus has always leaned towards heritage aesthetics, especially because of our UNESCO World Heritage listing, which really focuses on heritage shophouses. But how do we then balance this with contemporary designs to be relevant in today's market?
Yeah, I think this is a very good question, first and foremost, because I always think of this when we do projects, when we get projects. Yeah, so in my opinion, I think Penang has the tendency to always rely on its heritage aesthetics and vibrant culture. But I do believe contemporary designs especially can play a very important role in attracting the future generations, especially the younger generations, to appreciate arts, culture and design. Yeah, so that they are not so far lagging behind the other countries. So I also believe through more concerted efforts and by creating more exposures that we can educate them and hopefully retain top talents from overflowing to other countries, like Singapore, obviously, and also Thailand,
Yeah. I've seen most of your branding projects from Foci, because a lot of the projects are also based in Penang heritage shophouses.
Yeah.
Right. So then how do you then, sort of balance it up?
Yeah, that is true, because we tend to take up projects that has heritage values where we actually get to retain them. So for example, when it comes to projects that involves heritage houses or buildings, we almost never touch the interior side of it. And we try to preserve and retain a lot of its original structures only when it requires refurbishment or repair that we will get involved in the structural work. But other than that, we try to preserve as much cultural values, but then also always trying to inject more contemporary designs through branding, through marketing, and also like content creations across the board. So I think that's how we can balance heritage and contemporary, especially in Penang. Yeah. So in a lot of our projects that we get to do or are involved in, we try to be the agent of change, where we push for fresher and bolder concepts and designs. Yeah. So that is what we do for most of the projects.
Yeah. So for the sake of our listeners, Foci doesn't only just do like interior design. They do a lot of other things, branding, when it comes to basically social media presence, as well as merchandise, things, basically the whole concept of the projects or cafes or brands that they work on, right? So in that sense, because you have been, let's say, I would say that Foci has been a force of change in the creative industry in Penang.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think I'm exaggerating at all, to be honest. So like, what are your bigger dreams to see, materialize in Penang or maybe even in Malaysia?
Yeah, in Penang, I would still say the retention of top talents, because I believe Penang is a place that are never short of creative people, which is also why I personally feel that Penang is like a lab.
Okay.
Yeah, like a lab for us to test out bolder concepts from time to time, where you can see in our projects and even some of the businesses that we are involved in. We try to bring new ideas, especially to the younger generations, because there is also an issue in the aging population in Penang. Yeah. So the future generation is very important, and my dreams, my hopes are in how can we educate the future generations to appreciate arts and designs more in the Penang's market. Yeah.
Okay. And catching from that, right? So how do you think, in your opinion, how are we going to make Penang's creative economy more competitive in the region at least?
In my opinion, there are a few ways that we can do, at least from my experience. First being the integration of technology or innovation into the cultural aspects and also the heritage aspects. I mean, over the past few years, thanks and no thanks to COVID, the technology adoption has gathered pace. In fact, it is almost unstoppable, I would say. So a lot of people nowadays are very much drawn to visually pleasing stuff, like you mentioned earlier. Also, the adoption of e-commerce is like a commonplace now. So in that sense, I do hope and see more of traditional SMEs in Penang can adopt technology, embrace technology, and start to realize how the creative industries or creative services can benefit them across the board when it comes to branding, marketing, curation, and even content creation.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, for that. Because Penang is known for its vibrant food scene, where it is still occupied by mostly the older generations, where they are not really used to technology yet.
Okay.
But then that is also something that attracts tourists. So when tourists they come to Malaysia, especially in Penang, I hope the hawkers and the food scene can do something to sort of put Penang on the map as well from the design perspective. Yeah. And then also I definitely hope to see more initiatives and funding from government and even the private sector to sort of give more opportunities to local businessmen or entrepreneurs, the younger entrepreneurs, where they get the opportunities to generate an impact in terms of business, arts and culture, and also some independence, creative fields. Yeah. So with that, then comes a demand in the creative services, and I believe that will improve the competitiveness of the creative economy and even the creative services in Penang. Yeah. So I think back to a supply and demand kind of situation. Yeah. When it comes to competitiveness. Yeah. I believe it is very important to foster a creative community.
Okay.
Yeah, so platforms such as a curated market or curated art shows, design weeks, art festivals can definitely provide a platform for local artisans and creatives to make their voices heard, and a place for them to showcase their talents. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, I remember that you've mentioned to me before that as you travel and perhaps seek for inspiration, you have also seen things like in Singapore, whereby public amenities, public signages, right, are actually designed, right? Would you, tell me more?
Yeah. For example, I travel a lot to Singapore lately because of some projects that we are involved in Singapore. I am always impressed by the streetscapes in Singapore, where they do a very good job in especially maintaining their old the HDBs. They put a lot of effort on how to maintain a good exterior, and then also like signages and, for example, the MRT map.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, the whole system is very well thought of and designed, where I'm not too sure if they are commissioned to private designers, but I believe there are quite a portion of government jobs given they have give the opportunities to the private sector. Yeah. I mean, when government opens up opportunities to private sectors, private designers and creatives, it provides them a platform, to create projects with larger impacts, where they don't usually get to do because of how small they are, privately funded, and it is very hard for them to bring forth changes through projects that they are usually doing. So collaboration between government and the private designers or designers from the private sectors, I believe will spark something new in terms of the design landscape in Malaysia, and also hopefully boosting the creative economy. Yeah. Also, I believe when it comes to projects that create impact, it sort of help Penang gain more exposure, and also help to attract top creatives from around the world. Gives them a sense of wanting to showcase their stuff here, and that in turn will also help in boosting the tourism economy, I believe.
For sure.
Yes. So
in that sense, I think like when designers, local designers, are given the opportunity to actually do more impactful, meaningful works, and they would actually get a better sense of ownership of their work as well. And with that, I think it would be very good to attract, not only retain our local talents, local creatives, but also attract those from abroad, or even get those who have left to come home actually.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think if that actually happens, it would really boost the creative industry.
Yes. Because
here.
Malaysia is never short of creative people, and we have a lot of talents. I have a lot of friends that are actually migrating to a neighboring country to just get a job and still be in the creative industry, because they don't get a lot of opportunities here to do what they want. Partly because also the appreciation for designs and art is not as great here as compared to
our neighboring countries.
our neighboring
Yeah.
countries.
So it's
yes.
not just the currency; it is really the appreciation of their work.
appreciation. Yes,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, the ownership of their work. How because creative works they are not tangible.
Yes.
They are
exactly. Very
intangible. They're very intangible. So when it comes to that, emotion and also satisfaction plays a big role. Yeah, plays a big role in keeping creatives in their own field. Yeah, and spurring them forward in getting new projects and trying out new designs, pushing boundaries. Yeah, which is something very different in Malaysia, but we are slowly catching up, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know that we are actually moving forward and not just losing talents all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, like lately, at least there have been more art festivals. I think, especially. Well, I mean, of course, it halted because of the pandemic. But ever since we've opened up again, I do see a little bit here and there, especially in Penang. That's Hinbas Depot. Really the hub of the creative events, basically.
Yes. I've been. I am still a big fan of what Himbas is doing on the private end, where I think they've been doing that for the past 10 years or so, and they recently expanded the back.
The back part.
The back part to invite more creatives in. So it's sort of become a creative hub for Penang over the years, where I see more and more of younger creative want to put their stuff there, exhibit, and try to just engage in the creative field, which is a very positive sign. Yeah, very positive sign. Yes.
It's a good sign because, like, I realized that, with Hinbas, it's not really just the depot and their property, but, like, it spreads, actually, even the shops around it, the streetscape, actually, in front of Hinbas, as well as shops which are adjacent to Hinbas, actually has caught on, and like you can really just tell the vibes.
Yes, the vibe and the energy.
Yes.
That you can see across the street. The whole stretch of Himbas is now very lively, with bars, cafes, and the exhibition space. So it becomes a destination, almost a placemaking. Definitely a placemaking for Penang, and that also creates traction and momentum for the art scene to continue.
Flourish,
Yes, to flourish. Yeah. I think touching on this issue also, like recently in Singapore, I've been to their National Design Center or something. So I think the government also commissioned public spaces or some of their national assets to private sector designers, where they share their work and exhibition with top creatives from around the world. That is something that we don't usually see here in Penang. Yeah, which is something that I hope we can see more in the years to come. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be very exciting times if we could actually, catch up and see more creative events and giving the creatives more opportunities to actually make their marks. For Penangites and Malaysians in general, to be more aware of the effort that goes behind design and basically, hopefully, we can live within actually high quality, competitive design works. Yeah.
I think designs and arts and culture plays a very important role in the socio-economic aspect, where our well-beings and also our general happiness in the population is closely tied to what they see from day to day, how they feel in terms of how well the city is doing, what kind of efforts are being shown through public spaces, and also on the more creative end.
So, Ping, thank you very much for speaking with me today. I've been speaking to Loo Ping, brand consultant of Foci Collective, on Penang's creative economy landscape. This is Spill the Tea, a podcast by Penang Institute.
Thank you, Mei Ting, for having me.